Uh, Hi, everybody. Hi, Busy Bees. This is Heather Kate with Honeybee Buzz. And today I'm here with Erika Salloux. We are already having the most fun conversation ever, wide ranging, and we're talking about marketing. And both of us love marketing, but come at it from some slightly different angles, but also it's interwoven. So I will have Erika introduce herself, but she is somebody who will help to bring organization to your chaos, if you would like that. And hit it, Erika.
Hi. Yeah, I work with people who want to get organized so they can succeed, whatever success looks like for them, because all of us have different ideas of success. And I also help people also stick with their idea instead of what maybe other people might be looking at for success and get in touch with that. So as you know, we gain a lot of clarity when we get organized. So sometimes that shifts for people as I'm working with them. But yes, I work in people's homes, in their offices, entrepreneurs, so they can like have better boundaries, better contracts, make more money in their business by being better, more organized.
Ooh, that's a great example. Better contracts. That's a great, yeah, okay. This is awesome. Absolutely awesome. So before we went on camera, Erika and I had already covered like 5 points of like really coolness. And I just decided to say, let's just hit the on button and go. And there are so many topics. If you're here watching this video, please give us a thumbs up, a thumbs down, give us a little bit of expression, tell us what you're interested in, and how we can help you. But whether you're watching it live or on replay, let us know, and let us know where you're from. We'd love to know where you are. So Erika, tell me a little bit about what you do for marketing. I know that you like to stay away from social media for specific reasons, which I would love to hear about in a little bit, but what is it that you do?
I am part of our group of organizers that's around the world. And so I'm on their website, and I'm also in the local chapter. It's the National Association of Productivities and Organizing Professionals. We just changed our name, and I always have to think about like, what's the new name of our organization? Because for 14 years it was different, and we just started thinking more about how like productivity is part of organizing and including that word in our title, but keeping the same acronym, which is NAPO. So I use that for, it's a marketing technique because I'm on their website and on our local chapters, which is the New England chapter. Also really
you're in the Boston area, right?
Yeah, I'm in Cambridge, Massachusetts, yes. But I work with clients all over. I do virtual work. I'm moving more towards doing more virtual work, and more workshops in other places besides around this area, and more workshops on my own as opposed to people who hire me, companies hiring me, organizations hiring me, and doing some of my own workshops. And that's what I'm moving towards. And so, yeah, and through my current clients, getting clients through my other current clients, through other organizers who do different things than I do. So sometimes I get inquiries from clients that don't fit what I do. I don't do, like, for instance, working with like a whole team and going in and cleaning out someone's house like in an instant and that sort of. So I'm not like working with a really big team. I'm more one-on-one, helping people change their mindsets and their habits. So if someone wants something done really quickly and they're like, oh, I need a whole bunch of people, or they don't even know that, but I can discern that, then I refer someone out. And then once again, I've had organizers who I know in the area refer clients to me that they want, if they're working with like a professor that wants to work on their computer, organizing their computer, and they're like, I don't do that. I work in closets and kitchens, and I don't do technology, and I love doing technology, and I'm super good at it, helping people organize their technology. So they refer. So that's another way. Other organizers. Also just other websites that I'm listed on that aren't just industry websites, but some of them are and some of them aren't. That way, those are the main ways that, I would say that I use marketing and at the moment. And I think that there's a lot of other opportunities out there that I don't tap into as much, that I'm working on tapping into more now as I shift my business. Yeah.
So what are some of those ways that you're looking at, the new directions that you're looking at moving into marketing-wise?
So I want to do more videos because I like shooting videos, and I think that there's so many different learning styles out there, and people seeing something
Yes.
visual, it's definitely been proven that people
Yes.
are more likely to engage with a person or a business if they have a video. So doing more
Yep.
videos, not just on my site, but also just like having more of them out there. So for instance, I did a bunch of videos for this company called Business Town in Boston that shoots videos for entrepreneurs, like techniques, whether it's marketing techniques, or you might actually be interested in them. I could connect you with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought of that as I'm talking.
That's great.
We're
Thank
about
you.
to like do a learning series, take like the videos I've already shot with them and do, I think, yeah, some learning modules or something different. So yeah, so those kinds of things. So it's out there, it's on other people's platforms, their website, but it's really the content that that I teach people about boundaries and about getting in touch with your niche and stuff like that, and then not doing everything. Those are just some of the little things I shot for them, and they broke them up into smaller chunks, because once again, if they're more digestible, smaller
Great.
is sort of interesting, like, as you know, if you
Yes.
how the rise of videos has happened. So so definitely more videos, and just also so reaching out, like, so sometimes people ask me to write a blog for their blog, or like me to write an entry. So
Yep.
it made me think about more about also posting my comments on other people's blogs about the things that they talk about that I'm also really engaged with and interested with, and that are my expertise. So the other day I just read, something about how organizers get into the business, like what they did before and and they were examples of all these different organizers all over the United States. And I thought about, as I was thinking about what my ideas were around that, I just thought, oh, that's a really good thing to post at, and people would also then be exposed to me, even though I'm not in the article. So those are just like some of my ideas. And then also for my new website, because I'm designing a new site, I thought about how building community that's not in Facebook, and we can talk about that idea, my ideas around Facebook and my opinions of Facebook. But in that sense of having still building a community, but something where someone have to be really intentional about coming to it and engaging with it. So like having a forum that people can chat with me and chat with each other. And then also my newsletters, which also are engaged in a blog, which I haven't done before. I've done newsletters, but not like a blog where you access it and you can interact, that people can once again interact with the blogs and have their comments, and I would respond back to them. So like I was just looking at a website today about olive oil this morning, or that was last night, and people were chatting back to the guy who wrote the book and the blog. And so they would ask a question, and he would say, oh, this is like my opinion of this olive oil related to his book. And they were asking really specific questions. So it's different than Facebook in a lot of ways, which we can get into, but it still helps people engage and feel like they're part of something, and they can talk to each other as well. So I'm still working that out with like the tech people when I do that, I'm like, what will that look like? Because I think that collaboration is really powerful. So I don't think I have all the answers. Like I have ideas about what I want it to be, but when you start engaging with other people, they have ideas, and then you say, oh, I didn't even know I could do that, or that's a really good idea, because they have a totally different perspective from the tech standpoint, or whatever that is, whatever the collaboration. So those are some ideas that I've just been like batting around in my head as I get them. Yeah.
So it's like social, but in a I'm gonna overgeneralize, but in a healthier platform. So you want you're trying to encourage social engagement and participate in social engagement, but not necessarily on like, we'll just say Facebook or some of those mass.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just got an idea as we were talking. As I'm talking, I'm such an extrovert. As I talk, I get ideas. So I'm like, I'm writing that down as we were talking. And I would say, like, I would explain what those differences are, because I'm talking, but I'm not explaining like how that would be different.
Sure, go right ahead. Absolutely. What do you? Go. Tell me what you just thought of, if you want, and then let's segue into some of the scary downsides of Facebook.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think nowadays people are more in touch with what those are, because a lot of things have happened with Facebook, but they were really always out there. And I'm just a really intuitive person. So I do things a lot of times on intuition and not by
Yes.
just not rationale, as I would,
Yep.
how I would explain my decision making. So even in my personal life, I've never been on Facebook or my business, even when it started. So I just felt like it was another, in the beginning, this is what I, felt. And then of course we have more information that's come out, but I just felt like it was, another way for us to disengage from real, what's in front of us, like the real life, and being really present. And as a meditator, I have been since I was really young, I feel like we are being pulled in many ways to be away from what is really right in front of us. So I understand that people say, oh, well, Facebook lets me keep in touch with like all these people from all over. But the research also shows that then it makes people less likely to go out into the real, in general, not always, because people will say, oh, well, we connected on Facebook and then we went on a retreat together, the other way around, as opposed to I met someone on retreat and then I engage with them on Facebook. And then really, the research shows that it makes people like not engage in the real life, because they think that they have substitute. It's a substitute for the real life. But that people, and all the research also shows, people are feeling more lonely they're more isolated, even though we have all this technology to stay connected, which is really super, that's kind of interesting if you think about that. Why if we have all these ways that we can stay, someone said to me the other day, in the technology today, we can talk to someone, and like there's FaceTime, there's Skype, there's Zoom, like we're using right now. And he was making the argument like that there's no reason why you can't stay in touch with someone if you really want to, no matter where they live, like no matter where you live. And I didn't say anything because the conversation wasn't about that. But I was thinking, but it doesn't mean people necessarily feel more connected and engage them in the correct way. So it's not the technology's fault. It's like what we're using it for. So that was my beginning of feeling like I don't really need another way. And back then it was like I already felt, oh my gosh, there's email and I have to check that now too. It's an additional thing. And I'm just a very sort of kinesthetic live person, and that just is more my personality. So I thought that's why I never added it. And no, I had heard, people saying how you can't run a business. I've heard it all, like people who I've even thought of collaborating with, who like literally will not, because I'm not. They're like, if you're not doing Facebook, then they just think I'm crazy. So they just think I have no idea about what marketing is, and how do I run a business like that? So I've heard all of that, and I understand.
You've been in business for 16 years. We'll just put that out there, just in case, people don't know you yet. You have been in business for 16 years. Mm-hmm. So anyway, yes. Mm-hmm. And you kind of know the media business because you have a background in public radio, the music industry. You have a really intriguing background, in addition to the painting behind you, which we'll have to talk about sometime. But so Erika, just so people know, Erika has an amazing background, very interesting. You can find out the information on her website, which is living-harmony.org. And if you have questions, or if you have some interesting statements about Facebook or social media, please drop us a comment. But so Erika, you had people telling you that they wouldn't do business with you because you did not have a page or a personal presence per se on Facebook. However, clearly,
I don't mean clients. I mean people that we were doing like collaborating on.
Right.
For projects. Right. Yeah. Right. No, potential clients have never said that to me. But yeah, so that's shocking to me. Yes, continue. Sorry, you're going to make another comment.
No, I wanted to make sure that people had a little bit of the sense of the background of, where you're coming from, because it's really interesting, in addition to the fact that, many of us use social media because it is great for the small business and the large business for marketing, if you're into that, if you're cool with it. But it's not the only way to do it. So, so my personal opinion is that I agree. I think that I had to be kind of pulled into Facebook. This is almost a decade ago. But the reason that I was because there were people that I sort of randomly got back in touch with. I think initially it was like family and friends from school that I had grown up with. I grew up in a relatively small town and, went to school there my whole youth, and moved away And then there were these people that were like, oh, I would love to share some pictures with you. I'm like, oh, good, email them to me. And they were like, no, I can't. There's too many. Just go on Facebook. And I'm like, I don't want to be on Facebook. And eventually I did jump into it, and I loved it. And through social media and the internet, in addition to the business that I do, which is helping people to do their business via the internet, I also have actually developed friendships with people that I've never met in person, who live on different continents, different time zones, everything, and it is wonderful. And I hope at some point to meet them in person, because I don't think there's any substitute for social community in person. But I do love the way we're able to interconnect, on Facebook and via a bunch of the other social media options. But yeah, there's no substitute for the real. And I think that's part of what's pretty interesting about your business, is that intersection between, for instance, physical space that you help people to organize, and now also, because of your ability with technology, now you're also helping people, like the professor organizing his computer, which, there's a point at which people have so much information in their own heads, and so much information that they've kind of like virtually, in a sense, shoved on the shelf on their computer or hard drives, or wherever they've been saving all their stuff. Then it's valuable, it's really interesting, and they probably want to go back and re-access it and put it into something that's really useful for themselves and for other people. So I think this is great. So I know we had a conversation earlier about some of the information that has come out recently about the addiction level of social media. Would you like to speak to that?
Well, yeah, and that's a really big topic. So yeah, I mean, there's so much research around, and also a lot of stuff that people don't know what's going on. Once again, it's been coming out more and more. I just want to say that I completely go back to what you just said before I delve into that. And if I forget what you just said, remind me to go back.
Okay.
When you just talked about connecting to people that you haven't met yet. And also my background being, like, I started off in entertainment PR. My degree is in publicity, so for public relations at Boston University. So I started off understanding the idea of marketing and PR. I mean, that's what I studied. And though it changes through the years, and then there's new techniques that people use. Like back in the day when I started off in music PR, when there was a band on a tour, we were faxing press releases, and we were mailing out press kits. Like we would physically mail out a press kit. That doesn't happen anymore, right? In the music industry, everything's electronic, and you download a digital press kit.
Yes.
So it's completely different. But I think because of that background, for me and my brain, I could see different possibilities because I came from that world, and I could see what are the new things to adopt and what are the things that I might not want to adopt. So that's one thing. And then also, I think when people think about their computer, when you talked about computer organizing, they think because it's just in their computer that it's not clutter. But I also see when I work with people, when they can't find the most recent doc because they have 5 of something and they don't know which is the most recent one because they just keep downloading it over and over. That's one example of something that I see, and that I explain to people. Well, you might think that it's not clutter because it's in your computer and it's not physical, right? It's not you don't think it's taking up space. But if you don't know which is your most recent presentation that you just edited, that's going to be a problem for you and suck up your time. So that's one way that I help people also look at that and say, what can we get organized that you might not even think you need to get organized? Some people do. They'll say to me, like, I don't know what's my most recent doc, and I don't even know where to find it. And they might use the search feature on their computer, which isn't really the best thing to do because once again,
time.
You find one and you change it, and then you're like, was that the most recent one? So just something to think about. So in terms of addiction, there's so much research on our brains. And for instance, just one example that isn't just related to Facebook, but it's related to our phone, which ties into Facebook, is most people, as you know, I mean, how many times have we been somewhere where we're sitting and we see people that are talking to other people, but then they have their Facebook feed out. Like I glance over and I can see, even though I'm not on Facebook, I know what it looks like. And that's what they're doing. They're going through their feed. I mean, I was just at a movie where the guy next to me, it was a Q&A afterwards, and he was actually looking through his Facebook feed. He wasn't actually listening to the Q&A part, even though he was live there in the room with other people who were saying really interesting things about the film and society and the themes from the film. And so you could say, oh, it was boring, but how would he know? Because he's not really fully engaged. He's not really present. So
why was he there?
Well, obviously he was interested in it. And actually later in the conversation, he actually made a comment. And I was thinking, he wasn't fully listening to everything that everyone else was saying, right? And not that it was wrong of him to make a comment, but if you're going to be there, can we be fully present? Because what happens is when we're not, we induce that fight or flight response in our body, which is the opposite of the relaxation response, which is the opposite of helping us be grounded and making our best decisions, being our best self. So that it's been proven that if you look at neuroscience, our brain actually can't multitask. So he couldn't really be reading his Facebook feed and be listening, because it's the same part of our brain. So what our brain is really doing is switching back and forth really quickly. And what happens is when we switch back and forth really quickly is we are not being able to concentrate on either thing as well. Like, so basically it makes us stupid, to put it really bluntly. It makes our brain stupid, makes us stupid. And we do each of the things less well, and it takes us longer. So we are not being the best that we can in either of the activities, and also we are taking longer to do both of those things, even though we think, oh, I'm being really like smart because I'm getting two things done at one time. It actually is working in the opposite. So that's just one way to explain why they called them crackberries when they first came out. Before iPhones and when they had Blackberries, they actually were talking about the neuroscience. It wasn't just a cute term. It was changing our brain. And it also changes how much arousal and how much dopamine we need. So, like when something's exciting, you get this like dopamine hit. And the more that we have all these hits on our phones, and that's why, in the iPhone, I guess they decided, well, let's tell people what they're doing with their phones. And they gave them that thing, I forget what it's called. It now lets you know how much you've been on certain apps.
Oh. There's an app to track your app.
It's not even an app. It's just actually automatically on your phone. Like it's actually just
on the iPhone. Okay.
Yes, and you can look and you can see where your time's been spent. So it might help people then cut down, because you could say, well, I'm going to cut down and I'm not allowed to be on Facebook unless it's been 1 hour, and then I'm cut off. And I think one of my clients told me then you can have like a secret code you give to someone else so you can't unlock it and change it, which I find fascinating, that people would think that they need a gatekeeper basically for their own way they're using their phone. So anyways, going back to that, the more dopamine hits we get, the more we're like, let's look and see if someone commented on us. Let's see if someone sent me a text. The more of those we get, the more we need. So our like level, just like if you think of any addiction, like the more coffee like you take in, right, which is addictive, the more you need to reach that level, right? Same with like alcohol. And so that's what's happening to us. We're making ourselves, our bodies, in order for us to get aroused and get excited, we need more and more, and the more that we're on it. So it literally is changing our brain and the levels chemically in our body that we need. It's not just our brain, it's our whole body, which is strikingly scary, because that means that we need more and more and more. And so that means we're going to get more, we're going to be out there looking for more and more. And I did a workshop online once where one of my clients had a comment that said, I admit that I'll send text messages just because I want to get a response. For no reason. I want that something else to come back to me so that I feel that. She didn't know how to describe it, but I was talking about the dopamine, and that's what she realized, oh, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the dopamine hit when someone responds, right? Where we look at our phone and we say, well, who's out there? Who's like responding? Who loves me? Basically.
Well, there. I see. That's where I think the key thing is the love, like the connection. And I think people, so there's the dopamine aspect of it, absolutely. Yeah. But then there's also like connecting and connection,
right.
Connection. And sometimes our lives are, set up differently than maybe optimal. And so therefore, we're looking to connect, like this woman, with somebody. So she sends out a text message or a Facebook post or Twitter or, whatever. But I think there's I hear you absolutely about the neuroscience behind it and the physical reactions, but also I think at the core, and the reason why it appeals to people to begin with, at least, is the human need to connect.
Of
And
course. Yes.
I think a lot of us, we don't have the same um, base biological. Most of us do not live in the same place where we were born. We do not live within the community of family and distant family and all of that. Most of us in America, anyways, have scattered to the four winds, and we end up searching for community wherever it is that we land based on a job or whatever it is that life is doing, whether it's hurricanes and fires or something else. But we move around, and the connecting. I think one of the things that's nice about social media is being able to stay connected with people that you aren't physically connected to, even though you are emotionally connected. However, I hear you about the addiction level, and I think it's bizarre that somebody asks somebody else to control their social media usage. But so as a professional organizer, how do you see social media affecting your clients, or what is your thought on that, and what do
Yeah,
you?
yeah, definitely. So just to go back, because I also something that you said before I answer that, and once again, remind me if I go off track, if I don't go back to your question, is that when you mentioned that you're connected with people all over the world and
Yep.
and you hope to meet them one day, it can also work in reverse of that. Is so sometimes people meet people and then they want to stay in touch with them. And
Yep.
so that's a very different experience because, you know, have you ever, if you think about it and you've talked to someone virtually and then you meet them, you know that most of the time is different because the energy of someone is in real life is very different than what you get with them virtually. So I think that sometimes we have to just be aware of that we might be thinking we have a connection, but then we don't really have the same connection as when we meet them, that it might be totally different. And it might be that we don't even resonate with them once we meet them. So like if you have
Have
ever
you
gone on a
found
date
that?
with someone from on, oh yeah, I see that all the time when I go on dates from online. Like I don't really,
Well,
I don't spend a lot
dating
of
is
time
your.
talking to someone because I know that when I meet them, that's going to be that's going to be, well, we're going to be able to tell. I mean, they could sound one way, but then when I meet them, I'm in their energy, and that's going to be like the truth of it. So I think that we want to be careful how much time we spend connecting with people we actually haven't met. Like I was just in Europe for a month, and except for Lisbon, I was there for a month, and I traveled around. And everybody I stayed with were people that I had met real life other places who then I went and stayed with them. Not the other way around because I'm not on social media. So it was not like I contacted someone and then I wanted to meet them live. So that's the case that I do have friends that are all over the world, and I can still have that connection even though I'm not on social media because I was here and I met someone on the beach when I was in Mexico, and she lives in Paris and I stayed with her in Paris.
How cool is
My
that?
other friend I met in a business growth program in Connecticut, and she's Italian, and I stayed with her. So I met them live first because I was out there doing things. Because I'm not on social media, I'm out. I am definitely out more because I'm not, on the social media. So I totally understand what you're saying. I just wanted to throw out that it can work in the other way direction as well. So
Absolutely.
how I see it affect my clients. Okay. The biggest way I see it affect my clients is they're not as productive. They don't get the things they say they want to do done because they're spending time on social media. And then they don't feel like it's actually productive stuff they're doing on social media. They're just scrolling through and looking. Did you see the movie Eighth Grade?
No.
It's awesome. You have to see it. There's this one scene where they're playing Anya's Sail Away, and they show her scrolling through her
Oh yeah.
social media when she's on her bed. And that scene, just with the music, and there's no words except for the music, you get the idea of what the person is saying about social media, how it's like taking her out of like her real life, and how she is, and it's all people she knows. It's like high school. She's looking through the feeds of people she knows from high school. and how it increases her anxiety because she's comparing herself to what people are, and that's a whole other thing. So I won't get into that, but that's just the one point I want to make, is that that's what I see is the biggest thing. My clients, so for instance, I had a client who was doing Pokemon Go, this takes me to something that I saw, or I heard on the radio, on open source. There was a woman on open source who wrote this book called The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. And it was so fascinating because she was talking about this issue that I'll get into, but I'll first finish what I was saying about the idea of people wasting their time. They even know they're doing it and they can't stop. So they even will say like it's an addiction, so I've actually heard one of my clients where his girlfriend said to him, if you don't get off of that game, then I'm going to break up with you, because she could see how it was affecting his real life.
Well, because he wasn't interacting with her.
I mean, he was interacting with her, but she also understood that there was an addictive thing that was going on there. And I have seen that with my clients who like, you can feel like they really need it. Like they'll take a little break and they have to like take out their phone, or they have to get on their iPad and see what's going on with whatever community it is that they're on, which I won't name them all, but that was just one of them, the Pokemon Go one. And so that's the biggest thing I see that is affecting them. The other way is that, as we know, we're one person, so all our emotions like play, into our lives, is that the comparison part, even with adults, you can see that, because I don't really work with like young kids. So I won't even get into talking about that, even though I've heard about it and I know, how it works, is that you're comparing like your real self to someone's best self, because they're posting all this stuff they're not posting all mostly they're not posting all the like tragic things that happen or the struggles that they're going through, unless they're a life coach and they're talking about those issues or something like that. And so people have so much of this comparison and they start to feel bad about themselves, and that affects how they are even in the organizing process, like how much confidence they have that they can make the changes when they start working with me. That's another thing that I see. And also just technology clutter. So I just heard an ad the other day on CNN, because I was just listening to like CNN on the radio through an app, and it was, which I rarely do, like I rarely listen to the news, but it said, it was a Bose ad, and it said, have you ever wanted your sunglasses to play the radio? That's what the question started the ad.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, you should let the need dictate the technology, not the technology dictate the need. So people often, this is what I see, if they see something out there, they never wanted their sunglasses to play the radio. But now Bose has sunglasses that will play the radio for you. And you can take phone calls through the sunglasses. It said it's Bluetooth. We won't even get into like that part of like having Bluetooth attached to your head all the time. But that is the point of like where I say to people, a lot of times they've got a piece of technology and then they want to find a use for it. And that's really a time suck for us. It's just basically taking us down a road we didn't need to go to. Like we didn't need our coffee maker to play Scrabble, because we don't even play Scrabble. So those are the biggest issues that I see there. And going back to the idea of Facebook and the surveillance and capitalism, it was fascinating. Once again, I think people know more about this, but it's even more devious than I think we even imagined. Is she talked about Facebook compiling all this personal information so that they actually know your heart's desire, so they can sell it to you before you even know like what you want. And they're drawing all this data in. And then, I mean, once again, I said that people kind of know this is going on more than they did in the beginning, but that now the more data that they collect, the more they can shift your behavior. And it's happening like so embedded. And it's really this woman, and this is neat. This is what she was saying. I'm not saying this. She was talking with Christopher Lydon about her book. She was saying that they're actually because they're shifting your behavior, they're in the business of behavior modification. That's what they're really doing. And they're creating a stimulus response situation without our awareness. So people are being really robbed of their free will, even though of course we do have free will and we can change, we can shift out of it, but they really are getting like inside of our brains. And that, and she's not even talking about Facebook. She was talking about Google as well, doing the same thing with the Pokemon Go. That was their thing. And what they're doing is they're selling the advertising. They're getting you into restaurants and then they're monetizing that. And people really didn't think about that. They just thought, I'm playing this game that's connecting me to other people that I wouldn't necessarily connect with otherwise. So I just think that, okay, so if we know all of this, then we can make a more educated decision. Just like I would say that yes, I miss out on things. Like my friends will say like, oh, I forgot you're not on Facebook, so I didn't know something was happening because they didn't let me know separately, just like you were saying, right?
Yeah.
So but as long as I know that, yes, I'm missing out on things and I know that, but then I'm going to get something else that I'm okay, like, okay, I'm okay with that, right? It's gonna, that, so yeah, that's all I'm saying is for people to think about it and think about how we
Yep.
might be, how we are, not might be, being, manipulated in the behavior stuff that's going on and the stimulus that we're getting. Like people talk about even watching videos, like they know the next video that you want to watch and then they put one in front of you and then 3 hours later you haven't done anything because you're like still watching videos, right? Instead of doing the thing that you want to do, right? That's
Yeah,
your
but
biggest.
that's
Yeah.
our responsibility. That's our
Of
personal
course, of
responsibility.
course.
We got to take
No, I
control of that.
agree.
But yes, I mean, but that it is creepy, absolutely creepy when you're on one platform, let's just say Facebook, and then 3 hours later or whatever, you switch over and you're doing a Google search and an ad pops up
Right.
that's directly related to some odd piece of thing that you were doing on Facebook.
Yes.
That's why, browsers like Firefox offer privacy browsing. I mean, it's, there are apps to help block
Yep.
Facebook from knowing what you're doing elsewhere. It is definitely creepy. It's definitely Big Brother.
Yep.
But on the other hand, that's why it works. It is working. So, if you want to advertise to a very targeted population,
Yes.
that's why Facebook and Google work really well, and it's worth putting your time, effort, and money into that because it
Right.
works. How you can, you have to take control of your life, which is what you help people to do. And you have to control whether you're on Facebook or if you're on social media or how you spend your time.
Yep.
But that's, I mean, it's, it can either, it's a tool. They're all tools.
Right.
And if you use a tool to do a good thing, then it's about doing the good thing. If you let the tool run you, then
Right.
mostly shame on you.
Yeah,
But
you could say that. You could say that it's not my
be aware.
responsibility. Yeah, if I'm giving a service that's helping people, it's not my responsibility. Then if other people are using it in that other way, what a way that maybe isn't helping people. So yes, I get the way you're saying. That makes total
If
sense.
something's evil, it's evil, and not to say that there aren't some evil intentions behind some big things out there. However, yes, I think we absolutely need to be aware. I think we need to be making choices and controlling, what we do.
Yep.
And using it, if it's in your heart to do things for good, then yes, using things for good, absolutely. And
But in some way, you're still buying into the platform and helping people. I understand what you're saying. Like, I think like there's two parts to that because yes, it's like when people say, I did not have I had no choice. I hear people say that a lot. I had no choice. Not related to even social media, but just like a decision. But it's not true. They have a choice. They just didn't like the outcome maybe that they thought they would get from that other choice that they didn't think that they had. And so people do have the choice. We empower. I empower people to say, you have a choice. Like you said, you can take that platform and you, even if a person not running a business could say like, I'm only going to be on Facebook 20 minutes a day. I'm going to get on and then I'm going to get off. So you can monitor that, except it's super hard to do because of what's embedded in it to like use your brain in that way. So all I'm saying is that yes, you can do it and people do it, right? They say like, I'm going to be on it. Like when I first got a mobile phone, I was a very late adapter. And when I got my mobile phone, I was like, these are my rules because I saw what everyone was doing. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of those people. And it was super hard to keep those rules that I made because once you get the technology, it has that addictive component to it. So I totally agree with everything that you said about that. Like, okay, so if you're doing a business that's helping people, then let's say I'm going to use that platform because it works and not worry about that someone might be using it. Even someone I'm marketing to might be on it too much or whatever. So yeah, I get that.
it's rough. So like on the one hand, I think you can use a tool, just look at it and try to just use only the good part of it. On the other hand, it is sort of like saying, well, is a bar, like part of a restaurant where you go drink alcohol, is that evil? Is it feeding people's addictions? Yes. What do you do when you go there? Well, that's up to you. That's within your control. If you can't control yourself when you're there, then don't go there. You know,
Right.
but ultimately what it's really about is in that case, you know, don't, you know, you have to control yourself. And
Yep.
if you need some help with that, then you got to get some help or whatever it is that you need to do. But yeah, it's a choice.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I love how you were saying that part of what you help people to do is you help empower them to recognize their options and use their inner power to do what they want to do. So you help them to clear away things, the clutter of whatever form it is, and help them to choose what they want, and get rid of the things that they don't want, which is it's a beautiful thing. And sometimes, you know, that's core to affecting everything around us because we have these concentric circles, we have overlapping circles. So much of life is interconnected, even if it doesn't necessarily seem like it, where all these different things are interconnected. So I think, you know, the service that you offer people is wonderful.
I love your bar analogy because a bar really is about community, and that's why people go there instead of drinking at home, right? Even if they go by themselves, because like I always joke with my I mean, not really joke. I say that like my sort of naughty side that wants to get some stuff done sometimes, I go and work in a bar. Like I have my headphones on or sometimes not, but it's because then I feel like I've gotten out and done something that like, you know, I'm not like sitting in my office, but I can focus and I can get more done by just being in a bar, not a cafe. Like I go specifically to a bar because a cafe is more like that's where people go to work and it's not much more conventional. And I don't feel like I'm sort of being on my naughty self if I do that. But I totally get tons of stuff done when I do. I mean, I won't go there if I'm going to talk on the phone. You know what I mean? So that, and it's about, and there's like there actually is an app about that, and the research shows that when we have that noise around us, it's like noise of people talking, it makes us more creative. So
I I I see that, hear that, feel that.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. And
so
plus,
that makes sense. It's the same in a bar as it is in a cafe. Like it's you can get it on your computer too, or on your phone, and it's called Coffitivity. That's what it's called, Coffitivity.
positivity. So it's
And they
like the
have some
opposite of
free
white
ones.
noise.
Yeah, it's not white noise. It's like people like it's real cafe
Coffee
noises.
noise.
They have ones you get for free, like, but I think if you want the Paris Cafe, you have to pay for that one, you know, because that's special. But
Yeah,
the
well,
actual
I'm sorry. The Neapolitan pastry and the guy pinching your ear. You know, you can't get that on an app.
right. But you can go get that in real life. That's the point. Like I go do that when I feel like I want to get out of my office and I want to do something where I'm just going to be on my computer, but I want the energy of other people around me.
Yep.
And I did that even before I heard about this research about the creativity and the sound. Because I think all of our work, excuse me, is creative. And no matter what we're doing, there's some part of it that
There.
is creative. So if it's increasing your creativity and helping you focus, you know, then, you know, yeah, go do it. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because I do think it's like you can go to a bar and do whatever. I mean, you know, the bar isn't forcing you to have too many drinks where you get to the right? It's just your choice. Yeah. But also we have to be aware of what situations put us in a position that's harder for us to make the choices that are best for ourselves. That's my point. So if you're having a challenge and you know that you're not doing what's best for you, then you have to like say, how can I shift that? And I think that a lot of people in our society are at that point with things like Facebook. They don't have the control. That's why you hear people now saying, I've deleted my Facebook account. Like you didn't hear that a few years ago. Now people are using it. I was at a retreat and this woman used it as a badge of honor. She said that when we were going around the circle in the beginning, she says, I just deleted my Facebook account. And I was like, that's so interesting that now people are,
Yeah,
you
have
know,
you gone back and found out if she went back to it? Because everybody that I know that has said they were going to, or they did, they'd come back. And now people are seeing, especially with all the bad, you know, things that have come to light.
yeah.
But now people are seeing, more recently, you know, in the last month or so, they're saying, I'm taking a hiatus or whatever. They're taking a break. They're not shutting down, because it is, I mean, like, some people have amazing networks of people that they are in no other way interconnected with. And, you know, and I think it would be a loss to all of us if those connections are not maintained. And a really nice example that came up just the other day was, I know somebody who is a lawyer. She is a lovely person who was so supportive, so helpful, and she was also on the campaign trail this year, and pushing hard. And she did a lot of, she works full time. She was campaigning, and then something happened, and she was basically, you know, there was sort of an onslaught of real negativity that was coming towards her. And I think she just, you know, reached her level of like, I'm done, you know, I'm not dealing with this. And so she said, I'm taking a hiatus. You know how to reach me. If you know me, you know how to reach me. Yeah. But she didn't destroy her account or anything like that. But then somebody else who's within one of our larger circles messaged on Facebook and said, hey, you know, I'm a lawyer. I've been out for 5 years. I've been doing this work, and I'm just, you know, I'm done. I need some ideas. Can somebody please help me out? And I actually tagged the you know, lawyer A, and said, hey, you know, lawyer A is really lovely, and she's in your area, physical area. Would you, you know, she may possibly have some connections or some ideas for you, and be able to help you sort of brainstorm a solution, you know, which a big career change is what she was looking for. And she did. She popped back, lawyer A popped back on and said, you know, please connect with me, and this is what we could do. And that's one of those things that's really heartwarming to me, and one of the reasons why I like social media a lot, because I think it's I think those kinds of things are a great use of technology. I think, just like you say, you know, we have to be self-controlled about it, but that's, you know, everybody's got their own personal thing that they need to work on. We're all here to become better people through trial and error.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that there's those positive points, and I'm going to push back a teeny bit and give you real life examples that happened this week to me that were the same thing you're talking about, but they were live, and how the connections that I made, right? So just because I think that they still can happen in real life that we might forget about because of the social media. So I have a friend out in Argentina who's an architect / organizer who I met in real life when I was in Buenos Aires. And I was talking to a friend of mine here who has
what brought you to Buenos Aires?
U2. I went to see U2. I'm a really big U2 fan.
I
traveled around too in Argentina, but that was like the main impetus to go there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I connected with her because she is an organizer, but she's an architect, but she is working on becoming an organizer. But their economy is really, you know, not really great in Argentina, so it's really challenging for her. And so anyway, so I met her in real life, right? I hung out with her in Argentina. And then I was out with one of my friends here that I know from my church, and we were talking about Argentina somehow. I don't remember how it came up. And she has a friend who's American who's married to an ex-architect in Buenos Aires. And she just said, you know, maybe we could connect them. Yeah, okay, so her friend is American.
Okay.
And lives in Argentina and is married to a guy who used to be an architect in Buenos Aires.
Oh, okay.
Get that? So she was like, maybe it'd be a good idea for us to connect them because of the work that they do, and maybe he can help her get more work and connect her more. They might already know each other for all we know, because he was an architect and she actually is working as an architect. So my point is that we said, oh yeah, let's do that. So I said, yeah, well, send me an email. So I could do an email introduction to the two of them. So there was no social media involved. It was real two live people that I knew. That's one example. And the other one was like one of my friends who was interested in the business that I know another woman down the street from me does. And I just email connected them because it's a very specific kind of industry and skills that both of them have. And so as we were talking, like, you might be, and I just connected them via email. So once again, I knew both those people. I knew her from a business networking, a live thing I go to, like in the community. And I knew him from a party that I met him at, and now we become friends. So once again, I'm not saying that social media can't do that same thing, but also can still happen like in real life where you meet somebody in real life. So that sometimes,
for real life.
Yeah. So I think that once again, I think we agree on that. It's like a matter of how do we navigate that so we don't become too isolated where we're not out in the community as much, or because of the social media, or that we're on it too much, or whatever that is. Yeah.
So flipping back for 2 seconds, going back to that marketing topic, you said you go to some local networking things. What are the networking things that you do?
So the one that I was just talking about, the woman that I met, that I just connected with, the guy that I know, is Women in Cambridge. It's also connected to Cambridge Local First, which is a network of the other communities have them too. Like there's a Somerville Local First as well, and it's about local businesses connecting to each other. So we have
sort of like a chamber of commerce in a way.
Yeah, it's a little bit less formal. It's less formal as a chamber, but yes, there is similarities. So with the group, the Cambridge Local First, we often will visit a business and like they'll talk about their business and how they started it, or it could be a restaurant, it could be, and all sorts of businesses. So oftentimes it really helps promote that business as we go there live and, have drinks or whatever, appetizers, and then meet with each other. And then sometimes rarely we'll go to someone's house and we'll meet together, but mostly it's out in the community. And so those two groups are connected. I belong to the Harvard Square Business Association as well, which is once again they do live things around Cambridge. They just, like, for instance, had a chili cook-off on the weekend. The weekend before that, they had a chocolate tasting. Once again, it's outside. It's freezing, but everyone was still outside dancing and having chocolate and chili.
Lately.
Yeah, it was brutally cold this weekend. The chocolate one was a little less cold, but if you're dancing, you get a little warm. I actually started to take off my layers as I was dancing. So they run those kinds of events and also, connect business owners to each other. And it's a really, really big community. I really think it's a great community, the Harvard Square Business Association. Those are just two local ones that are real and live. And I go to places and see real live people. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people do belong to those kinds too. It's not like Facebook or Instagram keeps them from that, or Twitter keeps them from that. I think it can, and I see that sometimes with people on the time part we talked about. So yeah, I think I have to, maybe when we become aware, because sometimes I think we don't become aware of how much time we spend on something. So I think that thing that I don't remember the name of on our phones, or if you have an iPhone
only.
Helpful.
Otherwise,
it can just help us be aware, and then we can make a more conscious choice, because maybe we don't know that we spent 5 hours a day on Facebook, or I do find that they tag some of the things incorrectly, like the one for my app that's for my business phone that's goes through my phone. They call it social media, but it's for my business, but they just tagged it as, they called it social media. I'm like, it's not social media, it's my business phone number. So and I think they have to tweak that a bit, make people be able to re-tag something as what they use it as, if it has different uses. For instance, what if you use business WhatsApp? They might call that social media, but you're using it to market your business, so maybe it's not social media in that way, distracting you from your business. So yeah, but you have a really good point that you made, I think.
Oh, thanks. You too. So got a couple last questions before we wrap up. On your website, as like a personal poll sort of, what are the top things, as you're rebuilding it, redesigning it, what are the top things that you want to make it do? Just out of curiosity.
Say that again. What are the top things? I didn't get the end. I wanted.
That you want your new website to be doing. You talked about sort of an interactive blog where people can comment and communicate, and I assume you're going to be keeping your newsletter but tie it in, or just tell me. Tell me some of the changes.
Tie it into the blog so people go back. So if you talk about marketing, it'll drive them back to the website. So instead of my newsletter going out and being all there, it'll be just the beginning part of the whatever tip I'm giving or strategies. I've actually thought about a different idea for a blog entirely that came to me while I was at the theater, actually. I'm still fleshing it out. instead of it being sort of strategies and like, oh, here's how to like do this and your productivity, I think I want to make it, and I don't, like I said, I don't have it quite figured out, but more about sort of more raw and like examples of what my clients are going through or I'm going through, like something I'm struggling with and how I came up with a solution, and kind of it being in real time more like, okay, so today I wanted to do this and then I didn't get this done. Like, what did I do for the, you know what I mean? Like a little bit more sort of raw and edgy, and just sort of appearing into my world as someone who maybe might be blogging just personally, like that kind of a voice, instead of, like I said, like this is how you clean out your refrigerator and get it more organized, and like these are some products you could use or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
how to
absolutely.
be more, this is how to be more, so taking that idea and like it's going to be, yeah, so this is this idea that I had from this theater production I was at that came to me because of what I was watching and how they were demonstrating this blog idea in the theater. Like, so anyway,
Oh,
so
that's
that's one thing that sort of making, and the newsletter would be that blog. So it would actually be that rawness and that sort of, I'd be a little bit more, you know, open and vulnerable than I normally would be if I'm like writing about like how to, you know, how to your technology and how to make your technology work better for you. It would be more real examples, and also like, oh, my client today, and this is what we did, that kind of thing. And it would be shorter. So that's one thing. The
Ooh,
other
yep.
thing is having a shopping cart, which I haven't had before. And the stuff that I sell, the few things, have been just the people that knew about them or working with me. And then I'm like, here, I have this thing. So that I can reach more people and have more passive income. So
Yep.
that would be taking my content and then making classes, like a video classes, or, you know, I'm having handouts that go with them. And then people could buy like any, whatever else is on there, and some other things that I want to make. Like I have this really good idea for a book / deck of cards that has to do with my heart and body center and approach to time management is what I would call it, my empowered time process.
Ooh,
And
cool.
and it would be like super pretty. Like I already have this idea of an artist that I want to call up and ask her that I have this book of hers that I love, like her artwork. And so, yeah, so those kinds of things where people could, you know, actually buy stuff instead of them having to talk to me. And my packages would be on there too for that kind of stuff. Because if they want to work with me, they have to talk to me first. But that's the really biggest thing, is making sure that I get a shopping cart on there that connects to my database. Right now, it's not really like that. It's a few more steps. So making it more seamless from
The integrated part of your website.
Yes, a more integrated contact management system, because I have one, but it's not so integrated.
What are you going to use for that?
I'm using FileMaker Pro, which is not even an online version of it yet. So I still want to retain that. But a lot of people that I'm talking to about my website are like, no, you got to switch to another platform. You can't use that. I don't want to use like a big like Infusionsoft or Ontraport or something like that. So I want something. So if I don't retain the FileMaker Pro, which I've had for a million years and I really love, I think I can, but I just have to figure that out with the tech people. So I'd rather keep it and just go to the online version, so that, like, you know, my assistant can get it, anyone can get it. It's not just on my computer. Those are
that's really important.
those are the biggest things. And just showcasing more videos, so more links to the videos and making a few more. So like my bio page will probably have one, and the front page will have one, a short one. Once again, we already talked about why the videos are really helpful. And I think that portrays more of my personality. I have to really work at writing. My voice when I write is not really the way I sound, like talking to you. And so a lot of times I have to record something and then type it up and then not change it, so it sounds like me. So the videos will
that's a good tip.
Yeah, that's what I do, like, sometimes. So I'd say those are the biggest things. So, like the biggest, changes. Yeah.
Are you going to have your blog integrated with your whole site, or are you, because the way you talk about it almost sounds like separate things, but.
Well, I don't know if you want, I don't know, maybe it's the marketing language. I would say integrated as in like there'll be a tab, but I don't know how it will be, but and it'll go to the blog page. It won't be on the home page, I don't think.
Yeah.
I've seen people where they have that like a little thing that is their blog, right, where they have the categories and things. I think I'm going for more of a sparse, sort of bigger open look on my site. So I think that one isn't going to work with the design element.
It goes with the organizing thing, right?
Yeah, I like sort of a more of a Zen sort of look. The sites that I really like are a little bit bigger with less clutter on them. but the ability to go to those other pages, but then it'll look less cluttered, and then there's like a whole other links. That's sort of what I'm envisioning and talking to, designers about. So yeah, I think it'd be, I guess it'll be there, but integrated in the sense that it'll be another page that you go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people, well, old school, used to be that you couldn't have a blog and a website in one package.
Right.
Years ago. Now they are more what I would call integrated, but like, because you can have a homepage that is, more open and airy, and as well, and then have your blog, and you can even have like, your latest blog post show up, just one, like on the homepage or something, if you wanted to, like maybe with your current hip, like 5-minute, like, this is what happened today, and this is how I solved it kind of video.
Good idea. I'm writing that down. That would be a way for it not to be cluttery, right? That's a good idea.
Right, right.
And it looked really pretty because it would have a great picture, a big picture that would indicate, be related to whatever the topic is. Yes.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Current blog on homepage. Thanks for the
tip.
The
current post, and then you have your tab that says blog or whatever you're gonna call it.
Yeah.
And then over there, you have your catalog of all these really cool posts that are the fleshed out parts of your newsletter. What are you using for your newsletter? Do you use like MailChimp or Constant Contact, or?
I use at the moment Campaign Monitor. It's an Australian company, and you pay for each. You don't pay like every month. You pay for the campaigns, and they have like a tier and system that they use. And I might revisit that as I write more, because right now I don't write a lot. I don't have like a lot of newsletters that go out, which is really bad for my marketing. But I need a new assistant who's going to actually do that tech, someone else that does all the part where I just do the writing, and then it's the tech part that takes the long part, not for me to write like something. I can do that in a few minutes. And like I said, it's stuff that's going on every day when I'm working with people. So that's easy. Getting someone else to do the whole, send it out and then, monitor what's going on with that. So yeah, that's something that I want to do when the new site launch, do it more. And yeah.
How many people are on your email list?
Good question. I have to look to see what it is at right now, because it's always changing. Let me see. I will tell you. And it needs to increase, and I have some ideas of ways to do that,
Yeah. Cool.
Quick ways to doing that I've done in the past. So, okay, let me see. Right now, it is 2,200.
Oh, that's great. So that's a good start.
Not so good. It's not so good. So the ways that I've seen it increase, really, is telesummits. When I'm on telesummits with other people that do other things than me, or other organizations, and I'm doing my expertise. When I do workshops, it increases a lot. And even when I do virtuals, when I do something at, I did a technology talk for BU, for instance, for alumni. It was internal, you have to be a BU.
That's cool.
And those kinds of things where people hear you, whether it's virtual or not. So the telesummits are the biggest ones though, because there's a lot of people on there. So you get 200 more people. They might not all stay, but you'll get about, depending on how big the telesummit is. So I'd like to do more of those, organize some of those myself with other, practitioners in other areas around certain topics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not been working on that marketing part at all. Bad, I know. That's been
hey, it's whatever, you can't do everything all at once. You pick your priorities, and then you work in chunks, know.
But you still, I believe as an entrepreneur, it's about delegating and not doing that all yourself and finding other people to do it. So I'm all for that. And so, yeah, I don't believe that I'm supposed to be
that's the kind of stuff that I do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do. And when people ask me, I've heard people say why don't you just do your own site? I'm I'm not going to do my own website. That's insane. That is not for me to learn all that. And no, I'm hiring someone to do that. I don't do my own bookkeeping or my own accounting, or why would I do that? No, hire an expert to do it. So yeah, it's the same thing with the marketing. I want to bring on a new assistant. I've never had just a marketing person, but that, depending, I guess, who the assistant is, that's possible to have someone do that. Depending on what kind of marketing, right? to be doing. Yeah, because I do have some unusual sort of ideas about what that looks like, as you can tell.
Yeah, hey, but that's cool, and it's, you know, you've got background, and you know what you're doing, and you think about things, and you're creative, and it's, you know, it's working for you, so it's great. I do have one little suggestion, at least to begin with. I know if you're, you know, you've already got an email provider, but MailChimp might be a solution that would work for you, because, and I think it's, I'd have to double check. I think it's 12,000 people, or 12,000 like emails that you can send out, and it's still free. But that way you don't have to pay for each and every campaign, since you're
12,000?
I think it's 12,000 emails like per month or something. I have to double check.
I did not know that about them. Because I mean, I had heard of MailChimp. I thought they were more like Constant Contact.
I prefer MailChimp over Constant Contact and Campaign Monitor, and I do. I don't like Constant Contact.
No, I don't either. But I always thought MailChimp was like them. I didn't know how they compare. I didn't know they had even anything for free.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they've got really good analytics. So, I mean, analytics, in case anybody's watching, they don't know, like, what's the thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Analytics means they keep track of all of the statistics and let you know, like, what's happening.
That's who opens what page, like, you can see how many people open this page and, like, how long they stay, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yep, who clicked on your link, like in the email, you want to know, like, who is it that clicked on a link to come to your website, or clicked on a link for a special offer. It gives you a lot of information, and MailChimp does a very nice job with that, and it's their interface is nice. It's easy to work with their software. I'm trying to translate for people who've never used something like that.
Yeah, sure. Because Campaign Monitor isn't really, it's actually made for designers to use and then use with their clients. Like, you're not really supposed to be interfacer. Like, you're not to be the business owner, supposed to be interfacing with it. So it's a little more complex. And actually, I did have someone, the designer, who was doing it at the point when I signed up for it, but then she's not with me anymore. So then I would start doing it myself. I'm like, no, this is crazy. I don't want to spend time like figuring out how to fix the template, like, you know, because it is a little more. But even so, so good. Yes, so that's a good idea to check into. I didn't know anybody had any free amounts at this point, and then 12,000 is a lot.
Yeah, I would want to double check on that, because I haven't looked at that. But your list size, I think, might be a good size with them. And then what's that?
But even so, that's a lot of increasing. 12,000 is, I mean, whatever. Assuming it's close to that, but you know.
Yeah, you would have room to play with it for a little while at least, and then, you know, once you go over their limit, then they start charging you. But
once a month, you have to look at that. Like, do I want to send out something more than once a month? Like, you know.
Yeah. So so what I'm saying is, it could be free for a while for you, and still very effective.
Yes, that sounds interesting. Worth looking into. Thanks for that tip.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, thank you. I really have enjoyed talking with you. I look forward to talking with you again sometime. And please, if anybody is interested in contacting Erika, her website is living-harmony.org. And my website is honeybeebuzz.marketing. So have a wonderful day, folks. And please let us know if you have any questions. Send us some comments, and let us know where you've been watching from. Thanks, Erika. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Heather.